Hey everyone, welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars, where whispers become words and words turn into the stories you can't stop talking about. Today, the chatter behind velvet curtains and quiet tables has reached a fever pitch, all because of what Cenk Torun has been murmuring when the cameras aren't rolling and the microphones are off. Those who know him best say his voice softens when her name comes up, and lately he's been letting a few telling phrases slip. The name on his lips? Mahassine Marabet. And the message echoing through every corner of their circle is simple, startling, and thrilling. The future these two have been building might be only a heartbeat away from a ring and a vow. It's a story that began exactly where so many screen romances pretend to start but rarely do, on set, in long days and longer nights, under lights that make the ordinary look like magic. When Cenk and Mahassine first found themselves sharing scripts and hitting their marks in sync, people noticed something that went beyond cues and choreography. There was an ease, a quiet trust, an unspoken pact to catch one another if a line faltered or a scene needed fire. That professional warmth found a path into real life, and before anyone had time to label it, friendship was already folding itself into something softer and more certain. Both have played this delicate balance with care. Cenk, seasoned and steady, kept his words measured in interviews, always protecting a space that felt too precious to lay bare. Mahassine, luminous but grounded, chose smiles where details would have been, sidestepping questions with grace but never with evasiveness. Their fans would catch glimpses, an affectionate look on a city sidewalk, two silhouettes slipping into a restaurant after a late shoot, a small laugh shared between takes, and stitched these moments into their own quilt of hope. They've been crafting a relationship in the quiet, and yet somehow everyone could hear its heartbeat. But now, something has changed. If the hush around their romance was once a protective shield, it seems to be lifting, not with noise, but with confidence. People close to Cenk whisper that he speaks of Mahassine not as a passing chapter, but as the co-author of his future. He refers to her as his person, his constant, the presence that steadies his pulse when work gets wild and the days blur together. The way he speaks of home has shifted too, no longer a place but a feeling that shows up when she does. And then there's the line that keeps popping up in conversations where friends lean in and phones are set face down. He said they are closer to marriage than anyone would guess. Those words have a weight he never used to allow. For years, he kept talk of long-term plans at a polite distance, opting to let his roles speak and his work lead. It was a promise he made to himself when his star rose. Focus first, everything else will find its moment. But life has a way of rearranging priorities when the right person arrives. He laughs more now when he talks about what's next, and the laughter doesn't sound nervous. It sounds relieved. It sounds like a man who has finally found the rhythm that keeps him standing. As for Mahassine, she remains quietly dazzling. Ask her directly and she will give you grace before she gives you answers, but her eyes have started telling their own story. Friends say that when Cenk's name comes up, there's a calm in her, like she's already decided to trust what's unfolding. She has always been careful not to let the bright light of her career burn away the softer parts of her life, and lately she's made room in her schedule not with grand declarations but with thoughtful choices. Long weekends that line up perfectly with his off days. Flights taken without fanfare. Mornings where the first text is not a negotiation of calendars but a simple confirmation, yes, we're together in this. And then there are the families. For months, rumors have thrummed that introductions were made, not awkwardly, but with warmth that settled quickly into real approval. A dinner that stretched longer than planned. Conversations that wandered from the weather to childhood stories to favorite recipes. Nothing official, nothing staged, just the kind of genuine comfort that people feel when they realize the person across the table might one day be seated there at every holiday. No announcements have been issued, no photographers have been tipped off in advance, but the quiet certainties are piling up like secret notes tucked into a shared drawer. If you've been watching their recent escapes, you know exactly the kind of breadcrumbs that keep fans awake at night. Quick trips to places where they can step out without being chased, sunrises caught on a beach with no geotag, a mountain town where every path looks like the first day of the rest of your life. They are careful not to flaunt these days, and yet the joy radiates through even the most ordinary snapshots. A shared coffee. A book swapped back and forth. 2 jackets on the same chair. It's in the small details that people have found their biggest clues, and right now those clues are whispering one truth: they're planning for more than just the next weekend. What makes the whispers about marriage roar a little louder is this: Cenk once avoided the topic altogether. He was always respectful, always kind, but the subject of forever felt off limits, like a line he didn't want to cross in case it invited more attention than the relationship could hold. It's different now. Those who sit at his table say he admits he's never seen his path so clearly. In private, with people he trusts, he has let himself be honest about wanting a shared home that isn't just a place to drop bags between shoots. He wants rooms that echo with 2 voices, a kitchen that sees breakfast and midnight tea, a door with both of their names on it. Fans have not only noticed this shift, they've embraced it. Scroll through the comments and you'll find hearts made of words instead of symbols. People call them the pair that just makes sense, the couple you root for without needing to know every detail, the 2 whose chemistry doesn't feel performed even when they're standing under a boom mic. Everyone has their own version of the same wish: let this be the love that holds, let this be the story that doesn't end when the credits roll. For a long time, their relationship moved steadily beneath the surface, visible only in ripples. Now, it feels like a tide is turning. Not a storm, not a spectacle, just a rising certainty that's impossible to ignore. The latest talk suggests that Cenk has been confiding to close friends that his life is finally taking a shape he recognizes, and that shape keeps including Mahassine in every outline. He's not hiding behind metaphors, either. He has called her his partner in all the ways that matter, the person who gives ordinary days their glow and heavy days their balance. When a man like that stops speaking in maybes, the world pays attention. And the world remembers how this all began. The set where they first met wasn't extravagant, but it was fertile. It gave them space to listen to each other's instincts, to play off timing and trust. Their scenes clicked. Their pauses said as much as their lines. Behind the camera, they cared for the craft and for the people around them, making a working environment that felt like a long exhale. That foundation, respect, patience, humor, never stopped being the soil their relationship grew in. It's why the moments that seeped into the public I never felt staged. Whether caught while huddling under one umbrella or while leaning into each other on a bench, they carried the unstudied tenderness of 2 people who know where they stand. Of course, all of this doesn't mean an announcement is guaranteed tomorrow morning. They remain who they've always been: thoughtful, selective, careful with what they share. But there are signs that the next chapter is being drafted in pencil, with confidence strong enough to make ink feel inevitable. Those who see them together behind closed doors describe a rhythm that looks a lot like a life already being lived, a respectful division of time, a shared interest in each other's work, a kind word offered in the minute before call time, a hand squeezed after a day that asked too much. People close to Mahassine say she has never spoken about the future with such calm. She is ambitious and rightly protective of a career she's built with talent and endurance, yet she appears to believe that loving someone deeply doesn't diminish that drive, it focuses it. If she answers questions about Cenk with careful words, her actions are simpler and louder. She shows up to his events when she can slip in quietly. She sends him notes before premieres and messages when the house finally goes still. Friends have seen the way she listens when he talks about a role and how he listens when she outlines her next step. It's a partnership where the applause matters less than the person clapping next to you. Meanwhile, the rumor that set everything ablaze refuses to die down. Cenk has been overheard telling trusted friends that the distance between where they are and where they're headed is vanishing. He has referred to her as the person who gave meaning to a stretch of time that once felt purely professional. Not because he needed to be saved, but because love, when it's right, takes what you already are and expands it. The idea of a future without her, he's apparently said, doesn't make sense anymore, not as a fear, but as a simple fact that guides the choices he's making now. What does all of this add up to? It adds up to the feeling that they're not dodging the question anymore. It's not that they'll stage a spectacle or invite cameras into a moment that belongs to them. It's that the promise has already been made in 1,000 quiet gestures, and the formality is just the final verse of a song that's been playing for a while. Those closest to them talk about a timeline that respects their work while honoring what's blooming between them. No rush, no panic. Just timing that feels right. If an engagement is in the cards, it will likely happen the way everything else has, thoughtfully, intimately, with the kind of surprise that delights rather than shocks. Imagine it the way their friends do, a setting with meaning, perhaps a place they slipped away to when they first realized this was real. A moment with no audience and all the significance in the world. A question asked softly. An answer that doesn't need to be spoken twice. And later, when they're ready, a quiet confirmation that lets everyone who cares about them share in their joy without trespassing on their peace. Until then, the story keeps writing itself in small, luminous strokes. They carve out time when they shouldn't have any. They keep each other gentle in a world that can be sharp. They remember to laugh when stress piles up and to rest when ambition raises its voice too high. Every sign we've seen points in the same direction. This isn't a fling, a phase, or a conveniently timed crush. It's the steady, attentive love that builds rooms and plants roots and writes a future one day at a time. So here we are, watching two people who have learned how to guard what's precious while allowing the world a glimpse of its glow. If Cenk's words mean what they seem to mean, and all indications suggest they do, then the threshold of something lasting is closer than ever. And if Mahassine's serene smile is any guide, she knows it too. Together, they're reminding everyone that sometimes the biggest headlines are written quietly, not flashed in neon but traced in the tender ink of two lives choosing each other, again and again, until forever doesn't feel like a promise anymore, but the most natural next step. This is Secrets Behind the Stars, where we follow the pulse of stories that matter to the hearts that follow them. Keep your eyes open and your hopes gentle, because the whispers around Cenk, Torun and Mahassine Marabet are only growing warmer. When the moment arrives, it won't be because the world demanded it, it will be because they decided to let us in. And when they do, it will feel less like an announcement and more like something we've all known for a while, that this love has been walking toward its future all along, hand in hand, sure-footed and bright.